Yes, my friends, welcome back. 3 massive stories to break down. I want to give you guys the full contextual story behind our failed efforts for Ugarte. As Paris Saint-Germain have come in from nowhere, they've made an 11th hour proposal, and now Ugarte is set to complete a medical in the next few hours in Paris. To move on, we have more big updates around Kai Havertz, and we discuss incredible news around Casado. So my friends, apologies for some of the delays with the releases right now. I'll be honest, I've been a bit tired. Like I said, this weekend was a bit of a mad one, and I'm getting a bit older now. I'm feeling it a lot more, and yeah, I just haven't been like my full self. But I'm hoping now get back on the healthy lifestyle again and get ready to release some important content over the next few weeks. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Share your thoughts and opinions too, and without wasting any more time. So right now, let's get the quick story out of the way, and it involves more updates around Kai Havertz. Currently, it's looking like a move to Real Madrid could happen very quickly, as reported by Builder. And it seems that Madrid could be signing Havertz for a bargain fee in their opinion, as we want between 50 million euros to 60 million euros with some bonuses on top, which we wouldn't receive until end of the season. And converting that to UK currency, that's between 43 million to 51 million. So for a guy that we spent close to nearly 100 million pounds on, including the 85 million to sign him, plus bonuses on top, the fact that he's leaving for less money than what we bought him for, knowing that he has 2 years left on his deal, it's a bit mad to me, but it keeps communicating and re-emphasizing the fact that we really have to sell some players to free up funds to reinvest in other areas for Pochettino. So my surprise though is that it seems like we want more money for Mason Mount compared to a Kai Havertz. I don't know how that makes sense. I'd imagine that it must have something to do with Kai Havertz's player costs, because I think it's around 17 million a year. We're still paying off the transfer fee, and he's on big money as well too. I know I keep saying this, you guys, but the fact that we keep spending big money on players like this, only for their value to decrease so much in the future, it doesn't speak volumes about how we've looked to maximize some of these players' talents and what our grand plan for them is to begin with. I guess the reality is right now is that we aren't getting tons of incredible offers for players. So I have this sneaking suspicion that any player could be sold technically, as long as we receive decent money for them. So the bonus is that hopefully if this deal goes through quickly, we can start to finally add some players to the team. But for me, the negative still remains this. We can't develop this reputation for being a graveyard for potential, because we've struggled over the past 3 years, nearly 4 years now, to take a young player to the next level. There's only maybe Reece James, and I'm struggling to think of anyone else at this point in time. So I'm hoping that we get this side of the strategy right, because our transfer strategy our current strategy involves signing tons of under 22 players and giving them long-term contracts. So we need someone that can boost their level up. And this is why I'm feeling hopeful. I'm not going to say confident, because after last season, I've realized that anything can happen in this game. But I'm feeling optimistic and hopeful that Pochettino could be that guy to finally make sense of the talent. So that is Kai Havertz out the way. I guess we'll be saying goodbye to him very soon. So right now, my friends, I want to spend some time breaking down the entirety of the story involving Manuel Ugarte, because yeah, I feel like the video I released last night was one of the most ill-timed releases of this year, and in the space of an hour, that video was already old news. So I'm going to try and make sure I'm fully on point. And yeah, I need to be serious this summer. Right now, it's been an incredible past 12 hours, and currently, Ugarte is set to go to Paris now to complete his medical in the next few hours. How exactly has this happened? But we all know that money talks, no? But right now, I'm not going to waste no more time. Let's break down this entirety of the story to understand. Paris Saint-Germain made an 11th hour proposal in the dying few minutes, presented that to Jorge Mendes, and then he presented that to Ugarte, and then he came back to us to show that Paris Saint-Germain have increased their wage packet for the signing of Ugarte, and it seems like they presented more favourable instalment plans as well, so Sporting Lisbon could earn more money faster from Ugarte's sale. I think this communicates that Luis Campos is not playing around at Paris Saint-Germain. Paris Saint-Germain needs to really revamp their midfields. It's been a key area for years now, and I think Ugarte, Vitinha are good signs of a strong midfield future for Paris Saint-Germain. Now, this is where the reports get very, very murky right now. I feel like both clubs clubs, us and Paris Saint-Germain, have been using the media right now to try and, put their personal PR spins on the current situation. And last night it was reported that Paris Saint-Germain came back with a new offer, doubling the contract offer for Ugarte, presenting a €10 million offer. Since those reports came out late last night, it was revealed that maybe Paris Saint-Germain's offer was slightly higher than the €5 million they originally offered to Ugarte. And later this afternoon, it's come out suggesting that Paris Saint-Germain haven't even doubled their salary or paid above market odds in wages for him. And it's still in line with the original proposals that they offered Ugarte to begin with. So I feel like to get the concrete truth, who knows if it comes out in the future, but I feel like there's too much misdirections going on at this point in time. And maybe clubs are trying to cover up what they're really spending on these deals right now. Now, of course, when Jorge Mendes revealed that Paris Saint-Germain have come back, we were a bit annoyed at the time because we felt like we basically wrapped this deal up. We were getting ready to book the medical for this week. We already got the confirmation and blessing from the player. We did what we had to do and we upped our salary offer as well too. But I guess, the market for, defensive-minded midfield players or sixes is fierce competition in this window. There aren't too many excellent ones available on the market. And when one is, you have competition with a few other clubs. So I feel like this is a wake-up call for us to really do our business even better, even faster, more securely, and more aggressively as well too. But I feel like once we can sell a few more players, that will give us more flexibility to be more aggressive in the market. Right now, we aren't getting tons of offers for players, and I kind of suspected this because it makes more sense for clubs interested in our guys to come in during the latter parts of the window. So maybe this explains why we're offering certain players for reduced fees, because it's more important to let these guys go right now compared to getting maximum market value for them. Still, theory time. Was this like Mendes' plan all along to try and use our interest in Ugarte to boost value for the sale of Ugarte to Paris Saint-Germain? I think that's a bit too cynical. I wouldn't believe that. I mean, we can't forget that Jorge Mendes is a business partner alongside Boli and the board. And he has been very good for us. For example, he's the main reason why we're able to agree installment packages for guys like Enzo Fernandez and Ugarte. His influence in Portuguese football is very good, but we can't forget that he is also has to do right for his clients. It's not about us over his clients. That's just how the game works. Now, we got some more insight behind our final offer presented to Sporting Lisbon, because it's been said for the past 2-3 days that our proposal was just more satisfying compared to Paris Saint-Germain. And those details are more favourable installment plans, as well as the right of preference for any of our players, which basically means that they would have first option on any player that Pochettino deems to plus requirements. But things get even crazier right now and get even murkier, and for me this is where the PR spin from both clubs is in full effect right now, because there was this mad report released by L'Equipe very late last night, further confirmed by the Daily Mirror as well too, suggesting that on top of trying to sign Ugarte, maybe one of the main reasons behind why our offer was more favourable compared to Paris Saint-Germain was because there was some extra dealing going on behind the scenes, and that involved us buying percentages of controlling stake in Sporting Lisbon, and the report confirmed that we hope to tie Ugarte down to a 5-year deal. Now, this is where I'm really struggling to find the concrete answers, because as we do know, after exploiting FFP loopholes during the January window, UEFA had to react and they would look to close things down for the following summer window. But in terms of trying to figure out when it's actually activated and when it actually starts, I've not been able to find the answer. Now the transfer window officially opens in this country on the 14th of June. So that's in the next 9 days. Does this information imply that we had hoped to tie Ugarte down to a long-term deal, with the report suggesting that this would be an 8-year deal, to just get that final exploit in before everything is closed off? I don't know, because I've been trying to find officially when this law actually kicks in, and there's been no information right now. But maybe it does make some sense. And obviously it explains why Sporting Lisbon would be even more open to a deal like this. I mean, think of the potential possibilities it's going to open up for us. Imagine getting first refusal on top Sporting Lisbon youth products. I mean, that would be mad. Imagine we had the opportunity to loan out certain guys, like let's say a Kendry Pires, where he spends a year or maybe 2 at Sporting Lisbon, and develop that relationship where our top South American prospects have that leagues to go to acclimatise to European football and European life. But since the story came out from L'Equipe, and for me it's so obvious that Paris Saint-Germain were the party that revealed this information, I just find the timing a bit iffy because we were very quick to deny that and then immediately called off any hopes of pursuing the deal. Now you'd imagine that for a deal like this, you want to keep things under wraps and behind the scenes. Some reports suggested that if we got found out for this, we could have been, charged with failing to meet certain regulations and, accused of certain actions. But there's no concrete evidence right now. So is this Paris Saint-Germain feeding us in the media with unsubstantiated information to help put pressure off this deal? Maybe. Because reports saying that they haven't even doubled their offer for Ugarte, it's like, what is the reality behind this deal now? Now, Paris Saint-Germain have had the same energy for Ugarte that we've had. So you'd imagine that things are going to get a bit dirty and a bit messy. So either party can get that competitive advantage over the other one. You'd imagine that there's probably some beef over how Ziyech shouldn't make that move to Paris Saint-Germain. Who knows? But I find the timing a little bit iffy from our sides. So this could be just like a crazy lie. I mean, it's not even worth really hypothesizing right now because it could be anything. But I don't know, I'm just feeling things are a little bit iffy and this could probably explain why Ugarte isn't signing for us right now. So I guess to end things, have we failed Mauricio Pochettino? Have we messed things up already? You could be cynical and look at it this way, 2 players Pochettino wants. Mason Mount could be leaving us right now, and Ugarte, the 6 he wanted won't be coming now. I mean, I get that type of thinking, but I'd probably say this, yeah? I mean, he's not at Spurs anymore. If you're missing out on your top target, you got options like Casado, Lavia, Cornet, some of Europe's best. You've gone up a level in your coaching career right now. You don't have to worry about those woes anymore. Remember, Pochettino was hired specifically because of his collaborative spirit and ability to work with teams. So I don't think he's going to be angry or sad. He might be a bit disappointed because his first option isn't coming, but these other options available to him are also excellent ones that can easily fit his ideas. Ugarte wasn't 110% guaranteed, but we showed our willingness to acquire the players our new manager wants. It didn't work out. We lost out on the game, and that's how it works sometimes. So, like I'm saying, I feel like getting rid of players now is going to be key to allow us to be a little bit more aggressive now to secure certain options because there's going to be fierce competition for DMs this window, yeah? So that is all the news I've collected and read and just investigated around this Ugarte deal. And right now, let's end things by discussing the alternative to Ugarte. And we have to discuss Moises Casado. Now, this Casado move has been cooking up and brewing very slowly behind the scenes here. Many people at this club are incredible fans of Casado. I mean, Paul Winsley, the guy that brought Casado from Independiente to Brighton. I mean, of course, he wants his protege to be at this football club. Right now, the backups are Casado and Romeo Lavia. I do feel like a move for Casado could be quite long, as I keep re-emphasizing player sales could help speed up the process a bit more. But reports today, wow, Brighton have valuated Casado at £100 million. That's crazy, but it does kind of make sense. Now, of course, they were offering a massive premium in the January window. They weren't looking to lose him. But in January, there was one thing I forgot. Casado signed a new deal, which is going to boost the value even more now, with clubs like Arsenal and us being heavily interested in the player. I mean, Brighton are in full control right now, but they're saying we could look to drop his price if we get a certain player in return. With that player obviously being Levi Cole, because we turned down a bid last week of £30 million from Brighton for their services of Levi Cole. We've said that he's part of our plans. We want to keep him here right now. Pochettino is a big fan and big admirer. But Brighton know that, but with our desperation in a sense to sign sixes and DMs this window, more defensive profiles, which is key. We need them for Pochettino's football. Could that force this club to have to think of alternative solutions? For example, and just hypothetically, could it be another loan? Could it involve something like an option to buy at the end? I mean, I'm not too sure. I think it'd be a massive mistake to let him go to begin with. I still remain that he should not have left us at all. He could have got a lot of game time. And the fact that it's taken 15 Premier League games for this club to realise his full talent, I just think what do these scouts and stuff do at this football club where it's just nothing really matters until they actually see you play? I'm not too sure, but yeah, we can't lose Levi Colwill. This guy is like a very special, unique talent, and he can really just elevate our defense for the next 10 years. But curiously, Casado and Declan Rice have very similar valuations, and that's because selling clubs know top potential world-class DMs in the making come at a premium this window. And it goes back to a story I heard about Declan Rice. I'll share some insight with you guys. Now, back when Graham Potter was still our manager, during like the midway point of this year, Arteta, Edu, I think they went to Declan Rice yards, presented this incredible proposal discussing how they plan to use him, his importance, relevance, tactics. It was mad, and it really made Declan Rice, you know, take attention to Arsenal and pay respects to them. Of course, Bayern Munich are now in the race, the holding discussions, but at the time, once we got whiff that Arsenal had spoken to Declan Rice directly, I think Paul Winstanley and Graham Potter also went to hold talks with Rice. And from what I heard, those talks were very mids and very disappointing. But like one prevailing thing being like, Declan Rice was like, yo, like, what is your plan for me if I was to sign for you? And I think Graham Potter said something like, you know, I plan to use in the middle. Like, oh my God. Like, I sympathize for Potter, but the stress was clearly getting to this guy because this is a massive fumble in my opinion. So currently, after being quite unimpressed by us, you know, Rice hasn't been too willing to hold talks with us, but who knows if things could change. And now that we're getting quotes of 100 million for certain players, if we want a top DM, we're going to have to spend massive money. Then it gets me thinking, could we afford to spend massive money on a DM and a striker? I'm not too sure. I mean, let's see what this window brings. I think maybe 2 defensive profiles definitely needed. I think Lavia would be a good signing. I still think he's a project in the making. I feel like he's more of like a pivot style player where he's not like an expert defensively, but being 18, being very malleable. I mean, he can easily be coached and developed, but it's not going to happen over one season, right? It's going to be over the long term, but it could work out as he grows his body more, you know, improve certain parts of his game, because this guy is an elite class midfield player in the making. Let's see what happens. I'd like to think that Brian would be interested in some of our other players too, not only Levi Colwill. They have shown interest in guys like Gallagher before, Datro Fofana. But what if one reality that could force the club hypothetically to allow Colwill to leave is if we really struggle to release Koulibaly? I think Silva's definitely staying here. He deserves to. I think he has to. But Koulibaly, those wages, right now we're looking to offer him to clubs in Italy, and I'll discuss that in another news story coming out later today. But I think right now, my friends, I'm going to end things, wrap things up, and keep things moving. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Sorry that these vids are getting a bit longer, but there's just so much news to have to unpack and tackle. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hit that like button. I'm the EFC. This is BlueLionsTV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos. Cool.